out. Yeah, and I feel like just a lot of people watching. I get a lot of my, my inspiration from just kind of being out there and just see how people's like mannerisms and behaviors and whatnot. And then from there, it's I'll just write it down in my phone. Like I kind of have a skit list. So I'll have one for YouTube and I'll have one for IG, just depending on, the idea and how I can convey it within a certain amount of time. So that, I'll be like, okay, it goes there or it goes into that category. And then from there, I'll just kind of, when I'm feeling, creative, I'm in the mood to shoot. I'm gonna go through the list and say, all right, I have all the factors, like, I have the place or the car or whatever the thing is to convey this joke for that skit. I'd be like, okay, I can do it now, in this situation. And then I'll, go from there and shoot it or call people or enlist people if the skit needs other people. If I can do it myself, then, I'll just set up the camera and just shoot.
So that's interesting. You separate IG and YouTube, is that like this for, it sounds like you're doing double the work. It sounds like it, but it feels like probably makes more sense to you. Like, could you go deeper there? Yeah.
Because before IG was, I think when it first started, it was like maybe 6 seconds or 10 seconds. And then now, they moved it up to the minute. And then after that, they moved it up to
10 minutes
with IGTV. If you put on IGTV, it's more than a minute. But I feel like certain videos can be done within a minute time, but versus like a YouTube video, people are more willing to watch a video that's like 5 minutes or 3 minutes, like two to whatever time people will watch more so on YouTube versus when people I think are on their phone, they're just trying to watch, like, get a quick joke and then continue scrolling. So just how the joke plays out in my mind, and then I'll decide if it should go into IG category or YouTube category.
Got you. If it's like
and now TikTok, since that's the lick now. So.
Or you on TikTok?
Yeah, I know people have been telling me you gotta go on TikTok, so I started to upload a couple of things up there.
Bruh, I can't. Man. Yeah, man. Like it wasn't until TikTok that I felt old. Personally, you know what I'm saying? Like, legit, Facebook, I can, Facebook's old, so that's Facebook. Instagram, I'm all up on it, Twitter, I'm good. Yeah. TikTok, I'm like, bro.
It's a whole new thing you gotta learn,
A whole new ecosystem, dog.
It is, but I feel like once you have a good basis in like just like creation, you'll find a way to do it, right? So you may not be able to know how to edit well on TikTok, but if you you know how to edit well on Premiere Pro, you can still just edit and then put it into TikTok, right? So
word.
It just is, in your essence, you know how to create, then you should be all right.
Facts.
And also don't be afraid to embrace the new technologies, because you don't want to be Blockbuster. My thing I like to compare is not Blockbuster and Netflix. If you don't adapt and change, you're gonna
be ancient.
Exactly.
The other thing about TikTok, it's so intimidating with like all the crazy edits you see these kids doing, especially with like how like you can snap a finger and then it's like a different fit. And I'm like, how are you editing your videos like this using your phone? I think I gotta like play around with it a little bit more, but just to see it. But especially like for us, right? I've been getting people telling me like, yo, you need to be on TikTok. But for an interview like this, right? Molding that content and putting it on TikTok would be like how people can discover us more. So if you're like, since you're a creator, what advice can you give like for people who are like doing like long form interviews, because you've played around with different types of content to make it more interesting and build like an audience on like a new platform?
Yeah. I would say, just take little sound bites or just, say you have your next person is a tightroper or something that just get a little video of them tightroping or almost falling off. We like to see crazy stuff, things that kind of shock you, right? So if you can kind of see those moments, like when you're looking back or just or even when you're in a moment to kind of help, create the, the little shock value or whatever, whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I think those moments make for, they grab people's attention.
Even I just got an idea right now, like me trying to get on the original call with the Zoom. You can make like a funny video with like, trying to podcast over Zoom, and then you're like, we break that into clips. I think that would do well.
Well, I mean, I was laughing for the struggle. So.
Especially with me, like, look at him sweat. Look at him sweat.
And the thing is, and that's why I say, like, I feel like I'm successful with my skits because I do, I guess we were talking earlier and you said, like, I do photography and whatnot, right? So being a photographer, you literally have to be a fly on the wall and kind of just know when moments are happening and recognize them and just kind of read people's body language and see their mannerisms. And I feel like that's a skill that I use to, see how people behave in the world. And then I kind of will, mimic it or show people themselves within the videos, right? And I think a lot of people enjoy that because, we all think a lot of the same things, but a lot of times we don't say it, right? So when you see it in a video format, you'll be like, oh shit, you do that too, and people want to share it and whatnot, right? So for me, that's just kind of been my underlying thing to connect with people. So
I feel you. Word. I remember when I was in grade 6, I think I might have mentioned the podcast once, but my teacher asked me the question, have you ever thought a thought that no one's ever thought before? And I was like,
I've heard that question before too.
Yeah. And I was like, that's interesting. Then the more I thought about that, I was like, that's cool and all, but like, what if I can think a thought that everyone's thinking?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But just no one's really saying it. Then that's where like the value is, because then you're kind of a little bit ahead of everybody because you're thinking what everyone's thinking about without the action being there already. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what you do in a way.
I think you're right on the money with that, man. Because even on Twitter, a lot of people will say stuff that, oh man, I remember when I was young and I did this, and that as a kid. And it's stuff that you thought about before, but you never spoke about it. But then you share it on Twitter and everyone's just like, oh my God, I used to do that. I thought I was the only one. Mm-hmm. And then it just creates like this whole nostalgic moment. And it's like a good piece of content because everyone can relate to it.
Exactly. As people, we look for ways how we can connect and like belong or whatever, right? So it's definitely a dope way to build the audience and find your audience within whatever community you have or you're trying to build.
Most definitely. So getting back on track to the YouTube story now. You're grinding away from 2013, was there ever a turning point that you saw and all right, now I'm on an uptick, or was it just like a slow, gradual pace every time, I guess?
No, it was, I felt it was a pretty like steady like growth. If I had the metric or whatever, I felt it was pretty steady. With each video, I was getting more subscribers. With each collaboration, like I really kind of zoned in and saw where things were working, and I saw like what my audience liked. So sometimes I would kind of be like, all right, I know they'll enjoy this one, so I'll do it for them, right? Or if I was feeling like I just want to try something new or just be a little bit more creative outside of this, then I'll just do some something like that and just try and open up even their thinking or whatnot, right? So.
I hear you.
And what was like for your subscribers, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's like a moment that there's an explosion, right? I mean, I've heard this from a lot of creators, like one piece of content that just like takes them in the next stratosphere, like subscribers. Like one day you're like at 10K, and then one video just takes you to 40K, for example. Like we had Cheryl Sutherland, and she broke down this amazing she created a piece of content that showed the Sasha Exeter with Mulroney, Jessica Mulroney, right? And she created like a one Instagram post that just brought her like 4K new followers just because like she gave her take on that. What was like that one video you did that took you to the next level of subscribers, like where you're like, okay, now I have 80K subscribers when I was at 40K. Did you have a moment like that?
I guess the two videos that came to mind is probably the Jamaican Cleaning one, because prior to that I had maybe I would guess maybe like 1,000 subscribers or something like that, maybe less. Yeah. And then after that video came out, I went to maybe like either like 15 or 20 or something like that. Like, you know, it was a pretty big jump.
20,000? Huh? 15 to 20,000?
Yeah, so I was like maybe like at 1,000 subscribers, then I went up to like maybe like 15,000 or something. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, that video, and I did a video of like something I can't remember, some bedroom something or whatever, and that one, I think that was the video I got like a million views on, like my first million views on a video, and that one went pretty like globally, so I got a lot of different subscribers from that one. So, you know, it's
how did it feel getting a million views for the first time? Like, how does it feel to get a million?
Yeah, it felt dope. It would have been better if it was like cash, but you know, I guess beggars can't be choosers.
yeah.
But no, it felt good. Like it's an accomplishment. I mean, it's weird to think, you know, because I guess, you know, years ago a million views, like we had no concept of it because it wasn't a thing, right? So I guess at first it was kind of strange, but also felt rewarding because, you know, to know that a million people saw this from all over the world, and it was a good feeling. I can't lie. I can't even lie. I ain't trying to front. It was a good feeling.
No word. I was like, yeah,
being humble.
Yeah. Bless.
Yeah. It was a good feeling. I can't lie.
Yes.
All right. Now, let's move on to the next segment now of growing the business. You know, now that you're hitting these thresholds, I'm guessing advertisers start knocking. You know, or do you start approaching advertisers? Let's start there. How did that go?
Yeah, I guess the business of YouTube, before they used to have like kind of like influencer agencies for YouTubers, right? So they'll basically kind of, you know, a lot of them weren't like really doing nothing though. So I feel like I haven't seen those in a while. And then basically now brands have been kind of just reaching out to YouTubers or influencers themselves, or influencers have been reaching out to the brands. I guess for me, it's kind of started with, you know, someone or like a small business kind of, you know, hey, like, would you mind doing a skit to kind of promote our thing? And then from there, I've been approached by, you know, a couple companies to promote whatever product they have or service, you know, that I think is you know, something that I would enjoy, I think is cool, or my audience would enjoy. So, you know, we go from there and make it like a real business kind of transaction, right? That, you know, we all can benefit from.
Most definitely. Where have you seen the most money from YouTube? Is it out of merch, out of like the AdSense? What's been making the most money for you?
I guess I would say probably, like, for me, I guess what the exposure brings. So the business from, like, you know, the endorsements, I guess you can say. But I also equate it a little bit to Instagram as well, because I feel like Instagram, you can't monetize Instagram, right?
Not yet. They're coming though.
Not yet. Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh, okay. You can't really monetize Instagram like that. So you just have to use your influence, and you have to monetize your influence, I guess you can say. So I think that's been my biggest money maker in that aspect.
The brand deals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
As a YouTuber, how do you set up your business, right? If you would explain like your senior Gumbo brand, I mean that's a business.
Mhm.
How do influencers set up their business? Like, what give us like an inside look into your expenses that go into making your videos.
Mm.
How do you determine how you're profitable? Like what kind of systems do you use to really build up this brand that is you?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you depending on how far you're trying to take it, you treat it like any other business, right? You can actually, open a business or whatnot, right? I think for Canada, you have to be making more than like 30K before you can, if you are making more than 30K, then I think it's best. If you're not, then you probably wouldn't want to, claim it on your taxes and all those aspects of it, right? But you gotta look at, okay, I'm starting a business, so what am I gonna need? In this particular business, you're gonna need a camera, mic, lighting, all these things to get this business of influence going. Just as if you were a plumber, you'd need your tools and whatnot, right? So these things are just the tool for this business. From there, you want to say, all right, I'm going to need maybe some money for promotion, right? Because at first, you may want to put some ads out on Instagram or Facebook or whatnot just to get your content out there more. What else would you want to do? Logos, right? If you want to make your thing be like distinct, so you may have to get a graphic designer to do your logo, or if Photoshop and whatnot, then you could do it yourself. Editing software, like, so it can get pretty pricey. So that's why you should not undervalue yourself when people do come to you when it's time for you to charge, right? Because you did have to put a lot of money into this, right? Some people will put more, some people will put less, but you gotta, if you want to grow and have greater quality and whatnot, you do have to put money into it, right? So
how do you value yourself? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, no, say that again.
I was gonna say, how do you value yourself?
It's really something like learned. For me, it's just been, I had to kind of go through things and do things for free, or do some favors, and then once you start to see a certain pattern of what people are willing to pay you, and some like some of the prices that you give, and they're like, oh yeah, that's cool, and you're like, oh wow, yeah, it kind of reassures you of how much you're actually worth. Right. And with Instagram and YouTube and whatnot, now they have the tools to show you the insights, right? So how much your video is being shared, how much your video is being saved, all these things, where people are watching your video, the age demographics that people are watching your video. So now you have actual like numbers to back things up, right? And there's tools out there, like I think there's Social Blue Book is one where you can kind of get a rating of where you are. And even like metric calculators and stuff like that, right? So there's ways to find your worth. Put that on a t-shirt. That sounds nice.
Social Blue Book, yeah, that's a good. I'm gonna write that down, man.
Word, I'm writing that shit down right now. Where my pen at?
But yeah, man, Marv, like what you're saying about you gotta invest in all this, right? The thing about YouTube, which is unfortunate, is it's not duplicatable, right? For your success that you've had, you're like 150K subs. You just did your thing, right? And you came up and you got there. But for people coming in, it's so hard to duplicate that model, just because you have to be interesting. You have to put out good content. Like, what is good content? And there's no timetable of when you're gonna get to 100K subs. For example, if you're starting a service business, you know your pricing from day one. If I go to, let's say ABC, Acme company, they're going to pay me. And if I get 10 clients, 50 clients, this is how much I'm going to be making. But YouTube is a totally different animal, right? And I feel like right now, people coming up, their kids even now are saying, I want to become a YouTuber. There's a kid tasting Shirley Temples, and he has millions of subscribers. and he has all these brand deals, right? Like kind of niche subjects, topics like that. So let's talk about this a little bit, right? Like duplicating that type of success, right? If you were to start over again from day one, now that you've gotten here, what are some things that you would do differently or you would not do if you were to start over again?
If I were to start over again, I think I would have been more consistent from the start. I also, and I guess the one thing you guys remember, like I just kind of said, like you got to get all this equipment and where you take, blah blah blah. But really, when you break it all down, it's the person that the audience is watching. Like that is like the number one key, right? So you have to be kind of I don't want to say interesting because we're all interested in our own ways, but you just got to be able to be comfortable to convey whatever you're trying to say to an audience, right? So content is key. Like if the content ain't good, no matter how expensive the camera is or whatnot, people aren't going to watch it, right? So I just wanted to put that out because I didn't want to kill no one's dream by saying you got to buy all this stuff and whatnot, right? But it definitely does help, like especially with quality, it helps to raise your price and be at a higher, I guess, caliber or bar, I guess you can say. But if I were to do it again, I'll definitely just be more consistent with it from the start, and be more, and just say like, this is what I want from this collaboration, right? Like, I want to get this. Just be more straightforward, right? Let's collaborate for this reason. This is what you get out of it. This is what I get. Are you cool with that? Hey, we're both happy. Now we can get the work done, and then let's go for drinks and be cool, right? And treat it more like I guess a business like that. But other than that, I had fun with the journey. Like there's not much more or less I would have done, I guess, outside of those things.
Gotcha. What was some of the successful campaigns that you're proud of?
Like with sponsors and whatnot, or just in general?
Exactly.
I guess the one I did was Del Monte the year 2018. Del Monte Juice Canada. It was for Caravana, so I went to the parade and I kind of just hosted the parade on their stories, and we did a video, and they kind of went to my house, met my mom, and she made some food, and I felt it was like a really good representation of a Caribbean Canadian family getting ready for the parade. I went with my sister and her fiance at the time and my friend, and just I felt it really conveyed like a Toronto essence, and it showed like the parade in a positive light, and it was a good time. It was a good video, so I really appreciated that collaboration.
I hear that. Now, do you usually go and approach brands, or are you on offense, or do you find yourself on defense more so?
Before I was on defense. Now I'm with my new kind of like, go-getter attitude or whatnot. I've been reaching out to brands more myself, and then showing them like why I'm your guy, or why you need me, right? Or why, or how I can help you, right? Or how we can help each other. Because a lot of times brands, like you just they'll have like kind of like a PR agency, right? Like a lot of brands have PR agencies, and that individual who may not know you because they just they're just into different content or whatever, so they may not have come across you before. So sometimes you just got to put yourself in their eye, right? So yeah.
Awesome.
And with your brand content and your brand deals this year, how has that played out with Corona and everything happening?
It's been all right. Like I did get this new deal with a brand. It happened, pretty much when Corona started to happen. I shot some photos and came out, did like a little pitch and sent it to them, and they they really liked it, and they kind of explained that Corona kind of messed up how they were gonna do their campaign, but they want to take me on, It should be starting soon. So, you know, you guys may see it out there soon on Instagram or whatnot. So you just really got to adapt, right? I think that's the key. And what YouTube has really taught me as a creator is it's taught me how to adapt, right? And yeah, you got to adapt or you're going to get left behind.
Die.
Exactly.
Yeah, survival of the fittest.
Mm.
Yo, what comes to mind when I say, has a brand snaked you?
Has a brand snaked? No, not. I wouldn't say a brand has snaked me. I mean, I feel like, you know, those things where you it kind of sounds too good to be true, or it seems a little, you know. There's been moments like that where I said, all right, you know what, this doesn't sound right, but I'm just gonna see anyways, right? Mm-hmm. And then, you know, more often than not, when it's too good to be true or whatever, it just is. Like it's someone like trying to pull a fast one on you and whatnot. So, but other than that, the brands that I've worked with, they've been really, you know, really dope. Like, no horror stories. Maybe just like, you know, you do a video and then you're like, oh, great, okay. And they're like, oh man, can you just change this, that? And then you're like, so I have to reshoot the whole thing. Okay, cool. Like, you know, like those little annoyances. But at the end of the day, right? Like, you know, they're paying you for something, so you better shoot that shit again. So.
Got you. Man, that's a blessing, man. Not to have any like bad client experiences.
Especially since that long, like over 7 years.
Yeah, I've heard some stories. So, you know, it happens. You just really gotta be like say what you want and like write everything down, right? So don't leave any room for misinterpretations and gray areas. The more clear you can be, the better off you'll be.
Gotcha. Do you have like a lawyer look over contracts and stuff like that usually, or how's it usually work?
I haven't. If it were at a scale where I I think I needed to, then I definitely will. Right? It's better to be safe than crying later. So
that's a fact. Yeah. All right, cool. You can work towards wrapping up. Oh, do you have any questions, man?
Yeah. The last question I had was monetization in YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People who don't understand monetization and how it works at subscriber level and how much you could be making as you do climb up the ranks. Mm-hmm. Talk to us about it. You know, you've seen your channel grow and your platform grow. How does the monetization process work once you start allowing, you know, ads on your video and etc.?
Yeah. So before, I guess, you know, back in the day, YouTube just kind of let you be able to monetize from the start. But the recent thing that I think they did, you have to get 4,000 subscribers and I think 40,000 watch hours before you're eligible to monetize. So once you get those achievement unlocked, you know, you basically, if I guess a metric you can say for every 1,000 views is $1, right? It also depends on the time of year because of course there's more ads during Christmas time, right? And it also depends on the country. So the country you're in, you can make more money or less depending on the country you're in, right? You know, how many subscribers you have. If you have more subscribers, you're more likely to get a higher, I think it's called CPM. So like, basically like per view, if you have more subscribers, that view may make $5 versus if you have less, it may be like $3 or something, or like $1. So there's varying factors of how much you make, but I guess a rule of thumb, if you want to say, for every 1,000 views is $1. If you want to, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the cost, like the cost per mile. You know, it's a regular term in advertising. Different brands give you a different CPM, and different niches give you different CPMs as well. You know, in comedy, it's actually a little bit tougher because like brands aren't just like, I want to be like, if I'm a bank, it's hard for me to be like, all right, let me go on a comedy channel, you know. Whereas if it was like a finance channel, all right, I'm going into finance, and it's gonna because people are already in that mindset, you know what I'm saying? So and it varies for the audience, you know. when you're creating a YouTube channel, be aware that the targeting that you put on the YouTube channel can warrant different CPMs because of what the advertiser is going after. You know what I'm saying? Like some of the heavier advertisers are in like the financial space, et cetera, or in like entrepreneurship or
beauty is a big one.
Beauty is a huge one.
Huge,
Yeah,
huge,
beauty is a huge one. Or tech, like MKBHD.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He's probably raking in it. You know, so yeah, be aware of the niche you're going into, and have a plan for that because that's going to affect your monetization, most definitely.
100. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, those are just some of the factors that kind of determine how much you make. But you know, do it for the love, not for the money.
Facts,
man.
That's a fact. You have to have your why. You know, is it connected to your why?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Word. Yo, so you're working on this podcast with your brother, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, that's I guess a recent addition to, you know, the hats that I'm trying to wear here, and it's called the Broski Podcast, and it's a podcast I started with my younger brother, and basically just kind of chronicling our, you know, new friendship. We've been kind of going to parties more now, and whatnot, and I just thought it would be good for people to see, you know, men, you know, like speak more intimately, especially family, and especially like, I guess, black men or whatever, right? Because, you know, we kind of have these things, stereotypes that, you know, we also have to be tough. We don't smile, and like, you know, we can't even tell like a next man I love you, like, you know, like right. So, and I think just family dynamic is another thing that I want to introduce, right? So I plan to maybe have my mother on there, or our mom or whatever, right? Our dad. Yeah, and I just want to, you know, kind of put it like a positive light on you know, dudes just hanging out and just talking and just being real, right, or whatnot, right? So
I respect that, bro. Especially with Jamaican men too, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like
exactly. Exactly.
You know?
There's many layers that we kind of have to you know, try and break out of, or things we kind of have to unlearn, right? Just for a better community and a better mental space, and just better. I feel like better human beings in general, right? So
yeah.
It was really something that I really want to do with my brother. So
that's a fact. Yo, one thing I'm curious about, you know, you don't really have too much Jamaican dudes on the pod, you know, you're kind of rare in that sense. Do you feel like there's a culture of business in the Jamaican culture, and of like teaching business? You know, something I feel like might be an opportunity for. I just want to bounce it off you. What do you think, man?
I feel there isn't, and I feel like a lot of times it's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? So I feel like a lot of times the stuff that's being taught is not really being said right, or for a global narrative or a global, you know, mindset, because right now we live in a global society, right? And if it's good to sell whatever you have in one, you know, genre or whatever, but if you can sell to a global audience now, right? Look at Apple, like they're not just selling to, you know, one little thing. So I feel like teaching like global economics and selling to, you know, especially like a Jamaican audience would benefit greatly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm definitely open to stuff like that. Like one of the guests that I had in mind for the podcast, or me and my brother had in mind, was like a financial advisor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or a financial planner, someone who knows a good amount about finances. Because I feel like it's cool if you have the information, right, and whatnot. But like when you can like give information and make people's lives better, or help improve, you know, other people, and especially like, you know, you're a community that you hold dear to. Mm-hmm. That's to me that's dope as shit. So, you know,
that's a fact. And let me not skip over David Mullins. You know, he was on the podcast as well, and he's a Jamaican man. So let me not talk out of turn. And I would suggest if anyone's going to look at that, you check out the David Mullins podcast, bro. That was a great episode.
Yeah. Okay.
We dive deep into stocks.
Yeah.
And he's man, he reps Jamaica hard, bro, and talks about like no, for real, he goes up to bat against like why Jamaica is going to be the next Singapore. I don't know if you're familiar with Singapore, but Singapore, like in one generation, went from like medium level, I guess, third world country to first world country. So like he kind of like breaks that down. So
I mean, Jamaica was, I think they in the stock market last year, like they're the only country that had their flag raised up in the thing because like their stock market was performing like stupid, like it was really good. And I was like, okay, we're gonna go on with things like
coming up.
That's a fact. Word, bro.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's fun for our audience, and even you, bro. That's a good one. But that's a fact, though. I definitely think there should be more of a culture around entrepreneurship. There is like a small culture in terms of like I said, like locally, but there hasn't been like a global audience or a global initiative for entrepreneurship in the Jamaican culture. So that's one thing I guess we can start pushing into the atmosphere. And creating that energy out there, without a doubt, man, without a doubt.
Definitely. And it's things like this, us, dudes and ladies and whatnot coming together for the greater cause, good of all of us, right? And future generations. So, that's the vibe I'm on. So.
Facts. And we need to create more, bro. Because listen, the girls they're like coming together like Voltron, bro. Like they got the boss babes, all types of events where they're having brunch and shit like that. The dance
hot girl
groups.
Summer just it's never ending now.
Yeah, for sure. The hot girl summer, they ain't stopping. But yeah, so working towards wrapping up, like I said, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Senior Gumboy, YouTube at Senior Gumboy. I just opened up a Twitch channel. So Senior Gumboy on Twitch. I mean, all the links are in my Instagram bio through Linktree there. So for the podcast and the Caribbean Love shirts, I'm an idiot. I should have been wearing one, but that's okay. Yeah, so this little clothing line I started and I want to build and again, for the community, right? So it's all there. So you can check me out at Senior Gumboy on pretty much all major platforms.
I feel you. Owen, man, any last questions?
No, man, no questions, but just more commentary, man. Just like, man, just keep doing you, man. Keep creating, keep building, keep pushing. I feel like we're in that era, like it's a golden era to create, right? So I think you're on the right track, man, and it's inspiring to see where you're at from where you started. I think you're showing all of us what's possible with consistency. So man, those are just my last remarks, man. And overall, just thank you for coming on Hustle Over Everything and sharing your hustle.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys having me and kudos to you guys, for just doing it, right? Because I know a lot of the times people say they're gonna do stuff and they say and they talk and then it just never happens. So that's just even starting, right? Like that's something, right? And I wish you guys much success. We'll work together again. So this ain't the end, right? So I appreciate you guys.
Facts, man. Word, man. To connecting with other Black entrepreneurs, other Black creatives, man. That's what it's all about. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the hustle is what you can control. So control your grind and control your life. I'm Alex.
And I'm Owen.
And that's Hustle Over Everything.
Gumboy. No, not me.
Word. Word. We out, y'all. Peace.
We out. Peace.
All right. Thank you for watching that video. To see the next video, click right over here. And to subscribe, click right over here. Peace.